Hi all, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. I wanted to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for subscribing to my channel. You guys are helping me so much, I can't imagine. So for those of you that don't know, I have a personal goal to reach 1000 subscribers. If you like my content and you're looking for more posts from Reddit with updates, I'd love it if you could subscribe to my channel. Anyways, today's story is utterly heartbreaking. I've posted about scams before. The one that comes to mind, and I'll link it here in the YouTube thing, is the one where the mother suddenly abandoned her children and was planning on leaving the country. That broke my heart, but also it didn't really give things from the perspectives of the mother and her interaction with the scammer, and this is where the story is a little bit different. You can really see what exactly is happening and what type of individuals these horrible scammers target. My blood is genuinely boiling and I have tears of frustration in my eyes. Anyway, before I lose it, I do hope that you enjoy this story and I do hope that you learn a little something from it. Stay safe, guys. If you do enjoy the story, I'd love it if you could give it a thumbs up. Anyways, on to the story. My Brazilian sister-in-law is in love with this American doctor that said that he's working as a volunteer in Jordania. I told her he's a scammer, and then he sent her this document to quote-unquote prove that he can't really talk to her on video. So wanna know where this is from? Help. The document says, by Constitutional Assembly states that staff members serving at duty stations designated as having very difficult restrictions of life and work. While in the designated zone, our workers are restricted from things like accessing of cell phones, use of video cam here in the base, any form of bank transactions. If any staff falls victim of the above restrictions, he or she will be severely dealt with. And then it follows up with some official looking red sticker, stamps, signatures, and a blobby looking red wax seal. Some of the Redditors had some very interesting things to say, and these are some of the very useful comments. One Redditor pointed out that the UN Security Council is made of selected member states. They decide whether to send UN peacekeepers, made up of military or member states. There are no UN peacekeeping operations in Jordan right now. There are 12 peacekeeping missions active right now: Western Sahara, Central Africa, Mali, the DR of Congo, Golan, Cyprus, Lebanon, I'm gonna butcher this, Abi, South Sudan, observing Kashmir ceasefire, which is between India and Pakistan, Kosovo, and Jerusalem. And then the Redditor provided the link to their resources, which was the UN's website. They also stated that the grammar is terrible, designated as having very difficult restrictions of life and work, bad capitalism, garbage grammar. But tell your sister there's no forces in Jordan. None. Another Redditor also posted a really nice comment. I'm sorry your sister-in-law is going through this. This is the same as the oil rig scam, which sees some guy working on an oil rig who can't use his phone while working. Then eventually they start asking if you can transfer them small fees for internet use at internet cafes. Gradually, the asked sum gets larger and larger as they proclaim that they want to move to be with their victim. iPhones won't be off the table. It happened to someone I know. Your sister-in-law will have some photos of this guy. She'll likely be communicating via Hangouts, as that seems to be the go-to. He'll be using whatever name he's using, and he will seem to work strange hours. If she gets him on phone, I suspect she might see he has very little in the way of an American accent. Also, he'll be sat near someone who can act as his boss, because that also happened and seemed common from the case I know of personally. My advice is to ask her for this guy's photo. If she knows he's real, nothing will come up, but it gives you a chance to prove he's not. You need to run them through reverse Google search. If that shows nothing, get the name he's using with her and run that into Facebook. Look for people that look like him. The cases I know of have had multiple profiles, which he seemed to have active at any given time. He'd block the victims on the other one so that they wouldn't question why he had 5 profiles up. If you find any, you'll find extra photos, which you can run into reverse image search. In the case I looked up, I had 12 photos and only 2 came up in the search for matches. Luckily, those 2 led me to scam websites where victims post photos that their scammers were using with them and share the stories. If you find that, you'll be able to show her undeniable proof that it is a scam. From memory, I didn't take notes of the sites, but I think a couple at least had forums, and it could even be wise to check the forum if you can get the photos, as I imagine people on those sites might either have experiences or be well acquainted with how to catch them. I hope she hasn't been convinced to transfer any or much money yet. They hook them in with the promise of love and ask for a lot in return. Sadly, once that first transaction goes through, they've already won. It even got as bad in the case I know of that she was collecting and sending money from her own bank account. So she was getting transfers from Ireland, the UK, Spain even, straight to her account, and she was to send it on to another in England, apparently because he couldn't do it himself. These people are scumbags and they're happy to use people for the money. Just be aware too, your sister-in-law might not admit that she's sending money, and she will have her guard up too. She won't want to hear of you saying what's happening and plant that seed of doubt. You can't always reason with the heart, but if you can get your hands on any of these supposed photos, it's a good start. Good luck. My Brazilian sister-in-law is in love with a scammer, so he sent her this photo of quote-unquote himself to prove that he's real and now wants to talk to her via Google Hangouts. She thinks that he's famous online and that's why his photo is everywhere. I'm beginning to lose hope. And then OP put up this photo of this alleged scammer. One Redditor commented, "Simple solutions. Insist on a clear, well-lit, two-way video call lasting for at least 15 minutes. No excuses, no cancellations, no last-minute emergencies, no quote-unquote technical difficulties, no, sorry, too busy with work. Scheduled video calls, both parties must show up to the call, but here's more proof." The commenter then posts a link showing that the very same Google photo was used by scammers all over the world. They say, "Your sister-in-law will hear the scammer say, 'Oh no, that is me. Scammers are using my photo, but I am real. That really is me.' And she'll fall for it because, love." The default is video call, well lit, clear, 15 minutes, no excuses, none at all. A scammer will never ever show up on a video call. Well, they won't when they're obviously stealing someone's photograph and trying to pass it off as their own. In the end, all you can do is tell your sister-in-law to stop using her emotions to guide her and take 10 minutes to evaluate the facts. Not the emotions, the facts. If she cannot or will not, you can't do anything else for her. OP replied, "He said that he could only do it with Google Hangouts. I will do it with her and see if he really shows up." To which the original Redditor replied, "And I'll bet you a shiny nickel that he either will claim that the video isn't working or that there will be other technical issues. He could also claim that there's a hurricane which is interfering or an emergency will come up. If he does show, the video will be really dark, the audio will be distorted, or the quality will be off, or the video will magically cut out after a couple of seconds. In other words, the video call won't happen. By some miracle, if it does, it'll be chock full of issues. If she expresses the slightest bit of doubt, he'll ask her if she's calling him a liar. She won't want to do that as that will quote-unquote offend him and he'll cut off contact. She's in love with the notion that someone is paying attention to her, not that someone's genuinely in love with her. She's loving the attention. Intellectually, I'll gamble that she knows that it's not right, but her emotions are beating the heck out of her reasoning. So I came here seeking advice regarding a situation that I've never lived before, and the post got a lot of attention, so I thought it would be good to clear some things up. I see my sister-in-law on a daily basis since she's the only family member my husband has. Everyone else has already passed away. As I mentioned before, she's 66 years old, a widow and never had kids, so she's very lonely, and has found some nice interactions with people online, mostly from Facebook since she plays those online games like Farmville or something. She's had a very hard history of depression and unaliving behavior, and it's been very hard for us to find a way to help since she refuses to leave the house. One of the reasons why my husband decided to move back in with her for a while. Well, after this guy reached out to her, she changed for the better. She seems happier and was very excited to tell me about him. I realized very fast that it was a scam, but I just can't tell her straight to her face that this isn't the love of her life and that she's being used because it would be very harsh on her, and we honestly don't know how she's going to react. I think it may be very easy for a native speaker to quote-unquote perceive the bad grammar or bad Photoshop documents, but not only is she not very familiar with how the internet works and believes in a lot of information that comes from it, she's also not a native English speaker, so she relies on Google's Translate and other tools to communicate with this guy. My point for reaching to anyone out there is to first be sure that this is a scam, and if I have any way to prove it to her that this is fake, by, for example, presenting pictures or other websites, images, etc., and to see if anyone else has gone through something similar and have some experiences to share so that I can talk about it with her with the least amount of damage possible to her self-esteem and mental health. Thank you to everyone that took the time to send links and very good proof about this topic, and for being considerate even though some truths are very hard to hear. I'm currently seeking for professional advice with a therapist about how me and my significant other can talk to her about it. Thank you again. I hope everyone is doing fine. Stay safe, y'all. Hello everyone. This is the last update I'll be writing regarding the situation with my sister-in-law and a scammer. I don't know how to link my other posts here, so sorry. So we set up an online meeting with him this past Saturday. My sister-in-law was nervous. She dressed up, put on makeup and everything to meet her lover for the very first time. I was already heartbroken but said nothing. First, he said that we'd be talking at around 1 p.m. because of his work schedule. More than 2 hours passed by and he was nowhere to be found. She got very upset but said something must have happened at his job because in her head a doctor had emergencies and priorities. Well, after 2 hours, he logged in on Hangouts and we started the call. Guess what? His camera was sadly and unexpectedly not working. At that point, I was pissed and I wanted to stop this nonsense right away, but she was patient and kept trying. Eventually, they decided to just talk to each other without the camera. And I am genuinely telling the truth. As soon as he started talking, I was damn effing sure that he wasn't a native speaker. Obviously, his English was trash and he was clearly reading from some sort of horrible-ass translator. I was telling her what to say so that they could talk and translating his answers for her to keep communications going. As time passed by, she started to get uncomfortable. He said things like, "I love you so much. I can't wait to hold you in my arms. You're everything to me, my princess." Oh my god. It was so fake listening to this horrible crap in his own voice, emotionless, zero commitment, like he was reading some sort of boring cooking book. I eventually turned it off and she just broke down. She cried and said that she has nothing else to live for. It took me and my husband almost 2 hours just to calm her down and talk her through this. After all, we are still struggling to keep her well and trying to get her to see a therapist. She still refuses to go. I'm desperately trying to get her to go to some elderly groups. We have some pretty nice ones that do a bunch of things like traveling, knitting, cooking, playing volleyball, swimming classes, etc., but no success yet. Lastly, I wanted to say thank you to everyone that tried to help, took time out of their lives to send me links and talk about this. It may seem superficial, but sometimes the support we receive online is the only one we have that really seems to care. Stay safe. So guys, what did you think about this? As I mentioned at the start, I don't know whether to scream from frustration or to cry because this is such horrendous. What type of evil human being do you have to be to not only target someone who's struggling so much with their mental health, but also someone who's so lonely and who's been through hell? The sister-in-law is clearly going through a phase where she's lost somebody that she's loved. She's extremely vulnerable and she's extremely lonely. I'm so glad that she's okay and that she saw this, but I do sincerely hope from the bottom of my heart that she goes to therapy, that she's able to sort through some of her grief and loneliness. You know, you wish that things would end better here, and a part of me just wished that everyone would be able to live happily ever after, not the scammers. But I hope that OP's sister-in-law is able to do something to combat loneliness. I think I read somewhere that loneliness is like the #1 killer of individuals that are like past a certain age. It really affects your health. I don't know, I think in moments like these it would be really helpful to like maybe get a dog or like an emotional support animal or like a cat or something that keeps you engaged, you know? I don't know, I just wish the best for everyone. So what did you guys think about this? Did you enjoy it? Were you as frustrated as me? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, please give this a thumbs up. And if you're looking for more content from me, particularly stories from Reddit with updates, please subscribe.